Well, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is addressing members of the U.S. Senate this Saturday. A bipartisan group of both Democratic and Republican senators were invited to attend the meeting by video link. Joining us now is our international affairs editor, Armen Georgian. Armen, Zelensky has made some really strong pleas for help in recent days. What are we expecting him to say to these senators?
Well, I suppose, Monty, he'll probably hit the talking points that he's hit with other Western politicians, including members of the European Parliament, when he addressed them a few days ago. So I think there'll be, very similar themes there expressed. A request for more help. There is already an aid package on the table, a U.S. aid package of $10 billion in emergency funding, including humanitarian aid. That will be discussed in this video call. But given that this is a video conference with U.S. senators, there'll probably be a little bit more emphasis on military help than there was when Zelensky spoke to the European Parliament, because, of course, the U.S. is the main military power in NATO. And recently, the Ukrainian ambassador to Washington said that Ukraine was going to run out of anti-tank missiles and anti-aircraft missiles. So that's sort of those kind of resupply issues will probably be touched on. But I don't know how far the US senators will want to go in terms of Zelensky's other requests, such as when he said either close the sky or give us aircraft. Neither of those options are particularly palatable to the US in terms of possible further escalation with Russia when tensions are already very high between the US and Russia.
Well, you're mentioning there no-fly zone. Zelensky called NATO weak for not agreeing to enforce one. Do you think this issue will be brought up during the meeting with the senators?
I'm sure it will be. I mean, this is something that Zelensky is going to keep pressing the West on. That's absolutely clear. NATO's position at the moment, and it keeps repeating it, is that it wants to avoid war with Russia. It doesn't want a slide towards World War III. But of course, NATO is in a dilemma, because the result of that position could be perhaps Russia taking over, the Russian army taking over Ukraine completely at some point. Some people say, well, if NATO doesn't impose, more drastic measures such as a no-fly zone, then all that happens is that, the price of confronting Putin somewhere else closer to NATO in the next few years simply goes up. But, these are different sort of schools of thought. Whatever the truth of that is, it's obvious that NATO is in a dilemma as to what to do in terms of sort of overall direction. But at the moment, it's very much sticking to this idea of no further escalation with Russia. It's established this deconfliction line between the Pentagon and the Russian Defense Ministry, so direct line of communication there. And, NATO has talked about, if necessary, at some point, opening Article 4 consultations should a NATO member be dragged into this directly. But it wants a kind of very step-by-step approach rather than a kind of rapid escalate to de-escalate approach, because that would obviously be very dangerous. So that's what NATO is kind of looking at. It's been repeating that for the last few days, no to a no-fly zone.
Okay, International Affairs Editor Armen Georgian. Armen, thanks a lot for that insight.